Sometimes it seems like the heaviest news is the only kind worth hearing. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares a handful of recent real stories to show how the world holds more than just its struggles. We do not ignore the hard parts of life, but we bring a steadier balance with moments of quiet kindness and thoughtful connection. Today's stories remind us that not all meaning comes in headlines or loud voices. But first, I want to start with a story about an 87-year-old DoorDash driver who took a wrong turn and found unexpected generosity waiting at the door. Joe Simons is an 87-year-old DoorDash driver in Vancouver, Washington. For more than a year and a half, he worked long shifts just to cover everyday expenses and medication, even when the job was starting to feel physically hard. One evening, he made a simple mistake. He arrived at the wrong house. The mix-up led to Aliona Dickey's garage. As she was cleaning out the space, she noticed Simon seemed disoriented. He was holding delivery details, but the address in front of him did not match what he had planned. Instead of brushing past him, Dickey stayed calm. She talked with him, listened to what he needed, and handed him $100 on the spot. Then she urged him to take the rest of the day off, as if his health and dignity mattered more than the next delivery. Later, with his permission, Dickey posted a short video and started a GoFundMe. Donations began slowly, but then the momentum changed. She posted an update around $400, and within days, the total rose to more than $40,000. Both Dickey and Simons were overwhelmed. For Simons, that support was not just money. It was a chance to breathe, to consider retiring, and to believe again that the next wrong turn can still lead to people who choose kindness. Sometimes the simplest kindness takes a surprising route to get noticed, and it starts with an 8-year-old in a paper airplane. Madeline Glenn, in Lakewood, Ohio, was listening from her side of the fence and really wanted to hear a Taylor Swift song her neighbor played. Because she did not want to intrude, she wrote her request carefully, folded it into a paper airplane, and launched it over to Ethan Hayes. Ethan, a 26-year-old guitar player on his porch, saw the note and chose to play Love Story for her. Madeline's mother, Natalie, recorded the moment and shared it online. Soon, the small neighborhood exchange began to travel farther than anyone expected, showing up in major coverage and drawing attention beyond the street. What stands out is how one polite choice made it easy for someone else to respond with warmth. Madeline did not demand anything. She asked, creatively and respectfully. Ethan did not ignore a strange little message. He answered with music. And then, as the story kept moving, Taylor Nation reached out to send signed guitars and handwritten letters to both Madeline and Ethan. Those letters even arrived with special touches, including wax seals and perfume sprayed on the envelopes, and Taylor addressed Madeline as Dearest Madeline. It is a reminder that a gentle reach across a small boundary can grow into something unexpectedly caring. 3 teenagers from India, Vivan Chowcharia, Ariana Agarwal, and Aviana Mehta, won the Global Earth Prize for Plastic, a simple, all-natural microplastic filter made from powdered tamarind seed. And what makes it especially intriguing is how ordinary the raw material is, paired with a method that feels refreshingly practical. Before their work was even considered, many people in rural communities were already dealing with a quiet problem of stored water. When water sits in shared containers, filtration systems may be limited, and the water can pick up tiny particles along the way. The students were searching for a way to help, without relying on complicated technology that is hard to access. Plastic works in a straightforward sequence. The teens use tamarind seed powder as a clumping agent. After brief agitation, the microplastics gather into clumps, and then a handheld magnet can remove them. Their project earned recognition from the Earth Foundation based in Geneva, and they were even named global winners after 23,000 experts voted, alongside an additional Asian win. As they look ahead, they are not stopping at the award. They plan to scale through decentralized production hubs so more rural communities can produce and use the filter locally. There is something hopeful in that ambition. The idea that a small, thoughtful invention can travel, grow, and meet people where they are. Sometimes it is easy to think of adoption as a one-time moment, like a door that closes and another that opens. But longing has a way of continuing, quietly, for years. In a South Korean park, there is a wall of name tags that stands like a gentle act of remembering. Visitors can walk past it and see names honored in a way that feels both personal and public. The display was made for adoptees who carry a specific kind of hope, the desire to know where they come from, and the wish to someday connect with their birth mothers. It is not about forcing reunion. It is more like giving that feeling somewhere real to live. Somewhere that is not only tucked inside someone's private thoughts. What is beautiful is how the name tags turn quiet, searching into something shared. A family can visit and feel a little less alone in the reality of memory. And an adoptee can look at the wall and sense that their questions and their missing are not strange or unspoken. They are acknowledged. Even if you have never walked this path, you can understand the comfort of being seen. This park display offers a simple message with lasting warmth. That love includes remembrance and hope can be held with care in plain sight. Some stories remind us that hope can be measured in something as gentle as a wild flower returning to the ground. This one follows the Kentish milkwort, Polygala amarella, and the careful work behind its comeback. At Queendown Warren, a place that had been without this species for more than 50 years, the numbers finally began to climb in a steady, believable way. The project started in 2013 when conservation partners set out to rebuild populations after the Kentish milkwort had become perilously scarce, with only 3 Kent sites known by 2010. Seeds were collected from the strongest surviving plants, then grown in partnership with the Royal Botanic Gardens Kew, before being introduced in reintroduction trials at sites including Fackenden Down and Queendown Warren. And then the ground started doing its part. At Queendown Warren, counts rose from 17 plants in 2022 to 47 in 2023, to 86 in 2024, and to 177 in 2025. This year, volunteers recorded 1,245 self-sown plants across the project, a 7-fold increase, showing that the milkwort was not just surviving, but reproducing. What I love most is how the recovery feels like a quiet partnership between people and nature. When seeds are handled with patience and places are given a chance to host new life, the results can surprise you and they can last. As always, I have a wonderful tip to help you settle your mind and bring a little more steadiness to your day, and maybe even make room for the good in the world without forcing it. Today's tip is about finding good news sources that feel real instead of fluffy. Start by asking a simple question before you hit follow or bookmark. Does this story give you enough context to understand what happened, who was involved, and what changed? Real good news usually has details, not just vibes. It names the problem, explains the effort, and shows what measurable outcome came from it, even if it is small. Next, balance your feed. Look for a mix of local reporting, specialty experts, and human stories that include both wins and the hard parts. If everything is glowing and nothing ever challenges the idea, that is a sign to slow down. You can also check how the source talks about uncertainty. Do they admit what is known and what is still developing? That honesty is a kind of respect for your mind. When you find a source that feels grounded, return to it regularly. Good news is not about pretending. It is about noticing what is working and letting it be part of your mental reset. Well, friends, that is the end of today's 10 Better Minutes episode, and I am really glad you made a little time for it. If you came in feeling worn down or impatient with the noise, I hope these quieter, decent moments landed the way they were meant to, as a small reminder that kindness and good outcomes are still part of everyday life. If you would like more stories like this to carry you into the next day, please follow or subscribe. New episodes post every day. And if you have a good news story link or a local positive moment you think others might have missed, share it in the comments. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.